lessons to David Lee Roth if he wants to come out to where I live, and we'll even feed him dinner if he likes. I tell you, anybody who has sung as much as Dave, and as my wife says all the time, all those years on the road, banging out night after night, singing the way he does and screaming, it's going to take its toll on the voice. Let's not forget Dave smokes. Doesn't help. But really, my biggest thing with Dave, yeah, of course, vocal lessons. Anybody needs vocal lessons. Bono takes vocal lessons. Everybody takes vocal lessons. However, Dave needs to focus. Focus! That's what he needs, focus. So he really needs to focus and not skip lyrics and focus on the song. He gets distracted by what's going on in front of him. He's a very visual guy, and that's all cool. But I think Dave needs to focus. What do you make of this, Dave?
So I'm barely familiar with Danger Danger, so I really have no opinion on the whole Ted Foley recommendation, so I can't say yay or nay on that.
Poley, yeah.
Oh, Poley. Yeah, see, I'm so unfamiliar, I don't even know the guy's name. I'm confusing him with the wrestler.
Exactly.
So, that shows you what I know.
Yeah. That's Mick Foley, by the way. That's Mick Foley.
Right, Mick Foley. See, so I'm just merging people together. Right now, my brother-in-law is like cursing me at the podcast because I can't identify wrestlers. Right. But I digress. As far as vocal lessons, yeah, I'll be the first person to tell you that Dave definitely needs to take vocal lessons. Since it doesn't look like they're going on tour, I don't think he's taking any lessons. Yeah. If they were touring, regretfully, I don't think he would be taking lessons anyway.
Right.
Because my perception is that Dave doesn't think there's a problem. And there's a problem.
Yeah.
He doesn't stay in his wheelhouse.
Nope.
Or if he doesn't want to stay in his wheelhouse, then he's got to learn how to use that to his advantage. Because the way he's doing it now just isn't doing him any favors to a lot of people. And now he may disagree because he's the one singing it, but we're the one listening to it.
That's true. That's true.
What can I tell you? Dave, if you're listening, I love you, and I think you're one of the greatest frontmen of all time. But you got to do something, dude, because the way you're doing it now, it's inconsistent at best and not doing you any favors.
That's true. That's very, very true. On to letter number 8. And it says, Dave's Let's Talk's Van Hagar. I want some action. The 5150 outtake. Why didn't anybody tell me this exists? And what idiot cut it from the album? Which brings me to point number 2. If you make a Van Hagar rock playlist, it's pretty strong and probably palpable to the Dave lovers, Sammy haters. Mine starts with Pound Cake and goes into Runaround. I won't bore you with the rest. Discuss Shannon the Dude, who we haven't heard from in a while. And Shannon, I will tell you, I Want Some Action was definitely not finished. It was definitely a rough demo. It was a quick run through. Sammy was kind of throwing some lyrics on top of a riff that Eddie had. So I don't really think it was a finished song. And if Sammy really wanted to finish it, I'm sure he would have. But it's not a finished song. So there's that. In terms of a Sammy Hagar playlist, I'm going to quickly give you this. Put this one together. 5150, Summer Nights, Get Up, Mine All Mine, AFU, Black and Blue, Dream Is Over, Judgment Day, Runaround, Don't Tell Me, Seventh Seal, Big Fat Money, Humans Being, It's About Time, Pound Cake, Best of Both Worlds, One Way to Rock from Live Without a Net, Rock and Roll from Live Without a Net, You Really Got Me / Cabo Wabo from Right Here Right Now, and Won't Get Fooled Again from Right Here Right Now. That is one killer rock Van Hagar set list. I have that in my iPod. Listen to it all the time. What do you think, Dave?
Can't beat that.
Yeah, right?
I cannot beat that. That is, I got nothing after that. And I do agree with you. I Want Some Action had a lot of potential, but yeah, it's definitely unfinished.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, for sure. Letter number 9. Hi, Dave and Dave. It's your favorite college student again. With the most recent release of The Dirt, I can't help but wish for a Van Halen biopic. And it's about time people my age realize the greatness of Van Halen. What a better way to reach them than a Netflix release. Too bad getting everyone in the band to agree is pretty much impossible. Anyways, my question is, what do you guys think of a title would be for a Van Halen biopic? Feel free to get creative with it. I love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again for the amazing podcast. Keep it up. Just a Gigolo, Ryan Clark. Well, Ryan, thanks for keeping the flame alive within the millennial section of our listeners, which is small but mighty. I have 2, Dave. Number 1, I'm going to say either Unchained, The Rise of the Mighty Van Halen, or Eruption, The Rise of the Mighty Van Halen. What do you think?
I was also thinking Unchained.
Yeah.
But obviously, we are biased.
Yes, we are biased, yeah. So there you go, Ryan. There you go. And we are on to letter number 10. Dear Dave and Dave, in your March podcast, Christian mentioned that there was a lot of Van Halen fans on the set during the filming of The Dirt. I saw proof of that in the film. Did you guys notice during the scene when Nicky, Mick, and Tommy meet Vince, the guitar player in the band is playing guitar painted in Eddie's Frankenstrat colors? Christian wasn't lying. I also wanted to comment on Sam being on the Howard Stern show. Can we at least acknowledge that Sam is being asked these Van Halen questions as service to fans, and he isn't dodging them? Mike isn't dodging them either, mostly. We all know that Van Halen will forever be the peak of Sam's career, but unlike Dave, Wolf, and the brothers, at least someone is talking, even if it isn't good news. As you all said before, if you don't speak up, someone else will speak for you. Anyway, my question of the month is gear-related. It seems Ed often makes most of your news segments only when he has a new piece of gear to peddle. My question is, who besides Ed is promoting his guitars? I see Slash in the mags and on websites promoting Gibsons and Carlos Santana, and now John Mayer's promoting PRS, but I've never seen anyone famous other than Ed with a Wolfgang in their hands. Air Force J and Half Moon Bay. Okay, so here's the deal. Christian, yes, he says there was a lot of Van Halen fans for sure. That was a nod to Van Halen. I think in the movie, without question, I agree, but you have to remember that time when Nicky and Tommy and Mick had met Vince. It was the early 80s, so a lot of guitarists were influenced by Ed, so that made sense for him to have an Eddie Van Halen striped guitar. As far as Sam on Stern, sure, Sam has always been a straight shooter, but he also loves to talk Van Halen because it helps get him pressed for his new album. That's his whole thing there. As far as anybody else playing a Wolfgang guitar, I believe Billy Corrigan from Smashing Pumpkins plays a Wolfgang guitar sometimes on stage. So that's all I got for you, Mr. Air Force J. Anything to add, Dave?
No, I don't look at enough guitar magazines to see who's plugging what guitar these days.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so we are on to letter number 11. It comes from a guy by the name of Ricky Steele. And Ricky says, I just listened to your Billy Sheehan podcast, and it was great, tremendous. When Billy was talking Even in Smile reunion stuff, he mentioned Ralph from Steel Panther. And then he said, my wheels started to turn. How amazing would it be to see Vi, Sheehan, Bissonette, and Michael Starr, who is also Ralph, from Steel Panther. Here's the deal with that. Yes, Ralph or Michael Starr, he can sing Dave fantastic, better than Dave right now. However, it would be way too obvious to have a Dave clone, and I don't think Vi or Bissonette or Sheehan would do it without Dave, out of sheer respect and also looking desperate. So I don't think they would do that. Does he sound great? Yes, he does. Of course he does. He sounds fantastic. He's one of the original singers for Atomic Punk. So he was great, but you can't have a mock Dave. That's just a tribute band at that point. You don't want to do that. If you're Vi, Bissonette, and Sheehan, you're going to want the real deal. What do you think of that, Dave?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be real tough to sell tickets, quite frankly, if you don't have Dave there.
Absolutely. And we are on to letter number 12. And letter number 12, it comes from Down Under, a man by the name of Dazza. And he says, Dave, keep up the good work, and hello from Down Under again. As we know, some of the album titles for Van Halen and Van Hagar aren't that creative, unlike the awesome music on them, but we all know OU812 is an awful album title, and so is For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. So if you had to retitle the albums using a song from each album, what would you call them? For example, Van Halen 1, Eruption, Keep Rocking, Dazza from Down Under. Well, I tell you, this is what I did, Dazza. I did this for you. Van Halen 1, I would have called On Fire, okay? Van Halen 2, I would have called Bottoms Up. Women and Children First, I would have called Romeo Delight. Album number 4, Fair Warning, I would have called Mean Streets. Album number 5, Diver Down, would have called Hang 'em High. And 1984, I would have called House of Pain. And for 5150, I would have called Best of Both Worlds. OU812, I would have called Black and Blue. The Fuck album, I would have called Pound Cake. The Balance album, I would have called Aftershock. And Van Halen 3, I would have called Dirty Water Dog. What do you think, Dave?
I think I would have called Van Halen. I think I would have called Van Halen 2, Van Halen 2.
I'm sensing a pattern.
I think I'm not going to second guess the bands.
Okay.
naming convention for the albums. I don't think OU812 was such a bad album title.
Oh, that's my worst.
For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I mean, look, they are very high school. It's like, oh, hee for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Guess what that stands for? Like, I get that. that. And OU812 is maybe a little cutesy. And, you know, for a while there with Sammy, it seemed like the album names were some kind of secret code for something.
Right.
Until they got to Balance, which was the last full album they did with him, so maybe they should have stuck with that naming convention. What can I tell you? But, you know, the names of the albums don't necessarily bother me so much. It's the music in them that I'm listening to.
I think OU812 is the worst fucking album title I've ever heard.
Really? See, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, the Van Halen 3 album title, that I think they should not have done.
No, I agree with that.
I think that was like too much of an allusion to the third lead singer.
Yeah.
And I would have picked something else, but I don't know what I would call it. But
Dirty Water Dog.
Dirty Water Dog. You know what I would have called it? I would have called it A Hot Mess. That's what I would have called that album.
Fire in the Hole.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. No kidding.
That's true. That's true. So we are on to letter number 13, and it is, hey guys, it's Jerry from Melbourne, Australia here. Love the podcast. Thank you for all you do. I've been meaning to write you for a while, and I've had the pleasure of working as part of the local road crew at Van Halen show at the Silverdome in Tasmania. I got to unpack their wardrobes backstage, and it was such a cool experience. And as a result of my age, 37, the tour and my discovery of Van Halen, I'm a huge Van Halen 3 fan, but also I love all the eras. I saw Van Halen at the Stone Festival more recently, and also Sammy Hagar at the Cabo Wabo on the third cruise in 2008. I had tickets to see Van Halen the same year on the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, but unfortunately, it was one of the shows they canceled. And they also canceled another Australian show in 2012 for the Soundwave Festival in Melbourne. I've also done some Van Halen stalking. I took an Uber up to Eddie's house in LA Hills in 2017. It was an amazing trip, but I wanted to share this bit of news for you because we haven't heard you talk about this on the podcast yet. Thank you for all your hard work and keep it up. And if you like Van Halen, check out my band, Hammercan. And he has a band called Hammercan, so everybody can check that out. They're on hammercan.com, an Australian rock band. So you could also on YouTube as well. Thanks so much for writing in, Jerry. Anything you want to add to Jerry, Dave? You want to tell him to throw some shrimp on the barbie like you typically do? Or you want to do...
What do you mean like I typically do? What are you... Oh, yeah, because I'm the only person on this podcast who stereotypes. Right, yeah. Yeah, right.
I did that just to piss you off.
Unbelievable. I thought we agreed that I was going to be the international ambassador exactly for this reason.
Okay, you're right. Dave is the international ambassador, and therefore he says, "Good night, Jerry." I'm kidding.
And so all our Australian listeners bid us adieu.
He's like, Unchained is Foster's for beer. All right, I'm sorry. Listen, I love the Australian people, and I think Van Halen should go down there more often. Maybe the Circle can get down there. Sammy doesn't venture out. He doesn't like to go out of the States, Sammy. He's a little...
Well, he doesn't really have that much of a market outside of the States, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's what it is. All right, we are down to our last letter of the evening. Well, this will make Dave happy. It is letter number 14. It's a dual question, actually. He says, number 1. He doesn't say his name, but we'll put it on here. Here. He says, letter number 1. Here's a question for you. Has David Lee Roth ever sung all the lyrics to Romeo Delight live? I think I forgot the fucking words as part of his revised lyrics. So that's funny. I will answer you. If you want to hear Romeo Delight in full, with the full lyrics, I suggest you get a 1980 Invasion bootleg because the song was new then and Dave was way more focused and concentrated, so you can hear it when it was nice and fresh in 1980. So that's my suggestion for you there. Question number 2 says, watching The Dirt on Netflix, it seems like the pseudo Dave, which was Christian, got left on the cutting room floor. I watched in anticipation after your interview, but what was left was only a one-line situation. He says, what is everybody looking at while he's snorting cocaine? Yes, there was more to his role as David Lee Roth. Unfortunately, he got cut for time. But either way, I thought Christian Gehring that we had on last